Hello, hello, grown black folks talk. We return to our spring estates to talk about a two-part. We'll do this one immediately, and the other one will come up a few hours later. Strength through love, part one. Again, there's a lot of stuff that's not loving to talk about, and I have decided how I'm going to thread that needle because what I'm going to do is I'm going to name names. And in naming names, I'm going to challenge those of you that support those names and let you know what you're going to be up against if you continue in that way. I did see a preview of coming doom in the neighborhood I live in. There's plenty of previews for you to have a look at. And also just experience some things today and see why it is that Black women are going to have to make certain decisions that require our separation in order to remain in the company of civilized people, just like West Germany had to make certain decisions after having talked about and carried out a genocide. As I've mentioned before, there are two Black men in 3 weeks who have proposed the final solution of the removal of all Black women from the world. And again, that drag is coming, but I'm just going to have to drag the people involved by name. And then I'm also going to be fair about it and point out who proposes the same thing on the Black woman side by name. That's coming, but not today, because I'm still in threading the needle, wanting us to do this in a way that is healed. So I'm still on more of the healing arc for those of us to get through this weekend. There's a lot going on and there's a lot of healing that needs to take place. And I want to, as I was praying about how do I do this, the Bible puts a lot of weight down on encouraging that which is good and standing against all that is evil. So there's a balance there. And if you are a minister, you probably will put your weight down more on encouraging the good. So I want to talk about encouraging the good. We most certainly know, and I most certainly know, that all Black men are not on the genocide train toward Black women. Of course, we most certainly know this. And I am someone who has been able to have rich, fulfilling relationships on a platonic level with Black men. On a romantic level, I am not a married woman, but most of those men still count themselves my friends. And when the Lord brings us together to be able to do things together, we still can. And of course, the one whom I probably love the most was Sergeant Love. I still talk to him, still fellowship around the things of God and around things that when he's feeling well enough that we can go and do and enjoy. Spring is here, so we're going to try to get back in step, literally, at least a couple times a month. But I want to talk about just the experiences I've had with my platonic male friends this week. And I want to talk to this about the way that as a Black woman, you make these things work for you as you pursue your growth and your healing. One of the things that you will discover, well, let me start from where I start because my father is going to be featured in part two today. It is an advantage to me that I have still a magnificent father, and I had magnificent grandfathers. That's an advantage to me because I go and I expect that, and I know how to operate with men like that. So I have some wonderful platonic male friends. And the reason that Strength Through Love came to mind is actually a book that I read when I was very young, the relatively young as a young woman, Strength to Love by Dr. Martin King Jr. And I have adjusted a little further of Strength Through Love. These are men who I have now known, one of them for 12 years and the other one for about 4 or 5. Seems like that long because he was 29. No, almost, no, 3 years. One is a businessman, the other one is one of the most magnificent artists. Um, he sang his bass, just a voice that is reminiscent of if you could take Paul Robeson and Morris Robinson and add a little Hans Hatter German bass baritone on top, you would get something very close to this young man's voice. And they're both good friends of mine, good platonic friends. And so I was in kind of a sticky situation with the older of these two men previous week because we had hired out to get some work done and nope. And I could have been extremely angry because I had already told him, nah, you probably don't want to do it that way because you got to look at, okay, this is enough above my pay grade so that not only can I not do it, I probably can't guide anyone else to do it instead. And sure enough, it came out that way. Now, if I was unhealed if I was still very hurt, very traumatized. I have a former boss, a black man boss in my past who put me out as a human shield from bad decisions he was making. So I could have really been triggered and gone into that bag. And the Spirit of God said, there's no need for you to do that. Just encourage him a second time to go do the right thing. And in fact, I took screenshots of the things that were going wrong. I'm like, yeah, you probably want to go back and do what I kind of suggested you might in the first place. Well, he did, and it came out beautifully. And yeah, we could have saved a week or so of going through this process. But the thing about it is, he really wanted me to have the money for getting it done. It just could not work out that way. He respects me. He pays me well when we do projects together. We also just chop it up as friends. He was my second walking partner after Sergeant Love. We try to do things together and keep the money in the community as it exists today. We'll talk about that in the next video. But this is someone for whom I have a great deal of respect and love, who has always honored me. So it's okay. Things went bump in the night. Sometimes that happens. Does it mean we have to pitch a fit? Does it mean that we have to dial into our trauma that we have had over the course of being black men and women in this world? No, it does not. And so we move on. The work he needed to get done is now completed. And he said, I'm going to still compensate you because you put some time in on this. We can take care of that next week. So honor all around, strength through love. This project that he's putting together is going to be a great benefit to many people. So it's an honor to be trusted to be included on this. So no hard feelings. We keep moving. We remain friends. We don't have to do anything that's going to blow apart 11 years of being able to live and platonically love and actually do some very powerful work in the world. Second friend, base. Um, when a man is operating properly, he cares about the needs of women. He has done a magnificent project about Sarah Bartman and what happened to her. And he kept calling me, and I was sick that week. But he kept calling me, and he said, the Holy Spirit told me that you were the composer because I can't tell the story and not include a black woman who would understand on a deeper level than I ever will what women go through. In order to be able to do this respectfully and with honor to black women, I have to have a black woman composer. This is the same champion bass who just did a world premiere in a concert of one of my arrangements of Negro spirituals. So I talked to him about that, and he values my input on a lot of things. Refers to me as maestro. He has that much respect for me. We've known each other for years. We've worked on different things for a while, and are increasing what we're able to do together now. He sent me some art by another gentleman that he knows, and I'm like, I can see music that we can do there too, but one thing at a time. So I went to bed after having talked to him, and he was telling me about how he feels that now he could sing any opera he wanted that has bass or bass baritone. He had 32. I'm not sure. Is he going to settle into basso profundo or bass baritone? Not quite certain yet what's going to happen there. But as I went to bed that night, I heard even a third piece of music of what could happen. Because the loving connection between the skill that we each have and the art that we're each able to do. And also because of the new art that's coming to the picture. I'm a visual artist as well. So all those circuits got to be running because of this connection. I heard something. He made a request about the piece of music that I'm doing that I include a certain thing, and I realized I could invert it for the first part and then give it in its full at the end. And then having done that, then I thought about another spiritual that I also can do some similar things to and do a whole new arrangement for bass. Although the way I heard it was really probably a little bit higher up for baritone, actually. But if he's bass baritone, probably could do it both ways. Um, strength through love, of being connected with the right people so that you can operate in your fullness and in love. As a woman, men value respect more and they operate best in an environment where they feel respected. Women seem to operate love more and will operate well when they're loved. Well, a man and a woman who care about each other can start a cycle of conversations whereby each feels respected and loved, or loved and respected. As someone who is platonic friendships with men and a good relationship with her father, I know how that works. My father this morning knew that he could come to me. He said, "Are you going for your walk?" Are you going for your walk today?" I said, "Yeah, I can." I wasn't planning on it because I overdid it just a little bit. See that hill behind me? He got to remember, if I go anywhere near halfway to the top, I really have to take a much shorter walk the following day. Well, it ends up I had to take the shorter walk today. And he said, "I'm getting ready to cook food, getting ready to cook today, but I'm short a couple of ingredients, and I really don't feel like driving." I'm like, "Dad, I got you. I got you. I got this. I'll get it on my way back from my walk today." And when I delivered, he said, "I'm in the middle of cooking, but I'll get you money for you right away." I'm like, "Dad, I'm not worried about that." He said, "But you know, I always take care of my obligations all the time." I said, "Dad, I've never had to worry about that because I see the work you've done for all these years." Does he need me to say that? Not really. He is enough of a man to do what a man is supposed to do. But cycle, love and respect. He's known me for 42 years. I've known him for 42 years. We respect each other because both of us see a human being who takes care of business, and we take care of business for each other. With my platonic friends, same thing. With Sergeant Love, same thing. We have built mutual love and respect. And this goes into what I'm going to talk about in my second video, when strength through love comes under attack. Live. Had an interesting morning before going to the store. You have a different approach to that because you're able to, again, strength through love, strength standing on a foundation. And of course, and I'm going to talk about this, I was on my way to the park with my prayer journal. Uh, for those of you who do not have True Mystique's prayer journal, shout out to True Mystique. Y'all need to get that. The link will be in the description of both videos because I got to put the therapy and life coaching resource in the next one. But what I want to talk about is you can learn to do this. And like I said, as we'll see at the happy ending to the following video, those who are in that space will continue to be will continue to be drawn to you. Now, I learned when I was a child, honey attacks both flies and honeybees. And you attract jealous spirits who are upset, who only see you as a vector to something that they are not qualified to get into. Straight through love will come under attack. But I saw my grandmother when I heard this beautiful piece of music. My grandmother was the person who encouraged me to continue to love my people. She had dedicated her entire life. And my friend, the champion bass, was singing what we were working on for her, along with the new piece of music. And then I woke up in the morning, I realized that does not, I was reading sheet music at the first part of the dream that we had worked on together. But then the second part was like, oh no, that piece of music doesn't exist yet. That's given to me to write. So, in a sense, that my grandmother would have approved this young man as a companion for me as an artist. And grandmother was very particular about who she wanted to see around me in any capacity. It really unlocks some connections to the choices that I've made and the artist I've become. And finding people platonically who fit into that is a very big thing, to say nothing of romantically. Although by the time I get finished buying my spring and summer colors, if I want to do that, I can. I have men doing things around me now, they don't even know why they're doing them. And that's part of the next video. See, strength through love under attack can be protected. Beginning, because I told you I went out with my prayer journal, with the divine masculine, with whom I relate, of course, a father in heaven. Well, I had a good father. So it's not as hard for me to trust in that way as it would be for someone else. Granted. But just even down to the little details of how are you going to organize and construct your day such that you get protected under a situation where otherwise you simply would not have been. Strength through love, strength through loving appropriately, strength through learning how to position yourself. And I probably should just say here, because I want to say this in the other video, I'm not talking about submission, because we're not talking about Christian marriage. Black men want to talk about submission so bad. No, no, no. If you're not offering Christian marriage, you do not get Christian wifely submission. That just doesn't come with that. I'm not talking about submission. I'm talking about how you position yourself among men to automatically be protected. How you position yourself with masculinity to automatically be protected. And by the way, I'm still a day older, 42-year-old post-war woman and black in America, and it still works. As long as you know how to position yourself in proper environments. See, the thing about it is so bad, and we'll get into it in the next video, is um, you don't have to always divest. Sometimes your whole neighborhood will be divested from you. And then all you have to do is figure out how to work with the men who have decided to do this and who you have decided to stay. Because, in my case, my grandfather and my father worked too hard to work with who you're with and activate the proper masculinity in them, because proper masculinity will always protect femininity. Now, if you are in the thrall of a bad man, a good man does have to sit up and think about how much can I protect you since you want the foolishness. So positioning yourself is important, but you stand on, once you are healed and matured, you can begin to stand on a platform of love. I've been through a lot of grief this month, make it 3 weeks, but I am glad to have less voices in my circle who are taking in information about everything that everybody is doing wrong, that they are angry with. I'm glad I don't have that. In 3 weeks, it's really made a difference. My compositional powers have come back up to levels perhaps not seen since my 20s. And the price I had to pay was heavy grief. But it is what it is. Not being involved in certain conversations was necessary to get to this point. Because the proper place for someone like me is to be in a position where strength is built through love. And the door is open for anyone who wants to do their healing, anyone who wants to grow, and anyone who wants to walk this path, which is why I'm talking about it. Now, the second part of my videos for today will go up a couple hours from now. Strength through love is still going to come under attack. You're in an evil world. You're in a world where people are out of control and out of bounds and allow their animals to be out of control and out of bounds. That's inevitable. But I want to lay down a foundation first. I have no business being involved in bitter conversations between men or women. That is actually not my daily reality. That's not the life I've built for myself in 42 years. I've enjoyed respectful relationships with both black men and women my entire life. So it's on me for lingering where I don't belong. I have learned that lesson hard enough so that I am now journaling about it to make sure that I don't forget. And I'm leaving a video record for myself to even go back and listen to, in addition to helping you. So you learn from it. I have to hold me accountable if I let myself be messed over like that again. If I let myself, I have to examine myself. And what was I looking for? And why was I looking there? And what did I gain from it? And what did I learn from it? That's on me. But the proper positioning for me is strength through love. And if you think about it as a Christian, what is the one thing that you know about God? God is love. And He proved it through Jesus Christ, in whom I live and breathe and have my being. And gave the Holy Spirit to live within me, to provide me the strength to live in the way that He desires. Strength through love. We're going to have, like I said, I'm still going to work on threading this needle. I'm just going to name names and let it be what it is and call those of you out who support the foolishness. But that way I'm like, I'm not talking about 15 million people. I'm not talking about 18 million people. I'm talking about those that support this specific kind of foolishness. That's how I'm going to thread the needle. And I have to talk about those of us that don't stand up for the right when we're confronted with it. But that's going to be part of our second video. Because in the end, if you can persist in that, you will be on the outside looking into all good with no way back. And I encountered an individual who found himself in that situation and could not do a thing to me, because the divine masculine, God Himself, had set it up that there were some men he knew he knew he had no choice but to back down from, who were sent to protect me. That's the next video. We'll get there. Strength through love or under attack is the second part of this video. And as y'all can see, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Strength through love in a universe run by the divine masculine can really work for you. Doesn't mean it's always going to come out and it's always going to be good. But today, I got a testimony. That's the next video. I want to just put this one out as hope that yes, you can have wonderful relationships in the middle of all this foolishness that's going on, in the middle of black men threatening a Holocaust. You can have wonderful relationships because there's strength through love, through people who are healed and maturing and also seeking to do the same thing in the world. Where you spend your time makes a big difference. What I spend a lot of time in environments like this because the people who are there are on a vibe of trying to do what? Mostly. And a vibe of trying to do what? Reconnect with creation in a proper order. And when you have that kind of vibe going on, most people that you encounter will be operating correctly most of the time. Not always. I met an exception to the rule today, but that has to do with overarching things that people did not do and then ended up shut out with no way back and then having to live in that park. It's a very sad story. And understandable how someone would be out of pocket and enraged and all the rest. But I was not available to be the vehicle of that rage today because strength through love made sure I had strength enough to very gently refuse that situation because, again, I'm someone who has a good relationship with God and even know how to work with other types of men than black, and also with my black friends who are healed, whole, and growing. Strength through love. I want you to think about this concept. Not strength through being mad at stuff going on online all day. Not strength through being mad at fighting fights that actually are not around you. Not strength through vicariously getting pulled into foolishness. And say none of that. That's a misuse of most of our strength. None of that is necessary. See, the other video I'm going to end up doing is about how you actually contact and walk through the FBI and Anti-Defamation League's process for when you see people suggesting the Holocaust. We're gonna do that live. We're gonna not live, but I will walk you through it with screenshots. Because what we're gonna have to stop doing is stop arguing with people, stop talking with people, and get serious. That's what we're gonna do over here. That's how we're gonna thread that deal. I'm gonna give you power to not only turn these people in on their platforms, but to let them be monitored. Because see, the Anti-Defamation League got back to me to let me know what was going on. We're gonna deal with that in a different video though. All right, this part one, and then we'll get to part two with our happy ending. All right, y'all have a good day now. Goodbye.